Guys, news is super bullish. The CPI something and the inflation something else. And the guy with the hair or the bald guy, I don't know, is going to talk here in a few minutes. And we're getting volatility and Bitcoin's pumping. So we're going to a million K, right? Wrong. Guys, we do not care about the newspaper. About the news. We don't care about the news because number one, we're not newspapers. Number two, as traders, the news is baked into the charts like 90% of the time before the move even happens. And number three or number two, whatever number we're on, as to why news doesn't matter and who cares about the CPI data, who literally cares, is half the time when news is bullish, it pumps, and the other half, it dumps. So it is so irrelevant. Like the fact that people are going crazy over this is absolutely like, yo, I don't know, man. People in crypto, I find the need to grasp onto any like little bit of hopium that they can, or like, I don't know, they just come up with weird concepts. Like if it's 50-50, it is so irrelevant. And so on this channel, we do not care about the news, or I do not care about the news. I'll tell you that much. What I do care about is what the technicals are saying. And luckily for you, because I am so nice and polite, I am here to bring you the technicals in a timely fashion. Because, like I did 2 days ago or 3 days ago, whenever it was, while I was driving, mind you, and I gave you guys that video update that was very bad quality. While that happened, I gave you guys a fire update and it played out perfectly. So, we're going to do the exact same thing right now. And I want to show you how we're not out of the woods yet, okay? It is not time to get superly aggressively bullish on Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about why. We've been ranging for quite some time. We are just in this range. We are simply just recovering the vector candles that we know that we usually go and recover to, right? I always say whenever you got a white dot on market cipher, you got to look to the left and say, these are your vector candles and we can come recover it. And same with the green vector candles. Now, this is going to be very simple analysis, guys, because it's not going to be that complicated. Right now, your overall structure on the 4-hour time frame, whether you like it or not, is bearish, okay? We put in a high, we put in a lower low. We put in a high, we put in a lower low. And so your expectational order flow, or the expectation right now, is to still put in a high and put in a lower low. Now, for the bulls, in order for you to get bullish again, and I've said this and I've said this publicly, in order for you to get bullish again, Bitcoin needs to break $72,000 with conviction. Bitcoin has had multiple attempts, okay? Obviously, we made our all-time high. Then we had, give or take, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say 5, 6, 7, and we'll group that. 8 swings at the high, okay? We've had 8 swings at the high, and we've been unable to get above that 72K area. And the truth is whenever you can't go up, you're going to go down. That's just the way that the cookie crumbles, okay? And so right now, expectational order flow is to make a lower high to make a lower low. Not only that, but we got some pretty significant resistance levels on these higher term time frames. We are currently fighting a 12-hour order block right now that Bitcoin will need to seriously break above, obviously, in order for us to get a higher move to the upside. Now, just above where we are right now, we also have another 12-hour order block. So we have quite a bit of resistance to get to that 72K area that we are looking for, on top of the fact that structure is already not in our favor, okay? For the longs, I mean. Structure is not really in our favor. Now, in addition to that, right, something you got to understand about structure is when you have like a high, low, lower high, lower low, you are technically allowed to SFP that high while still remaining bearish structure. I myself on my channel and on my Twitter and on every other platform that I have been saying that I believe, excuse me, I believe we're going to 64K. Okay. Personally, I believe we're going to 64K. I think we're going to 64 and then we're going all time high. And then we are going down to like 40. That's what I think personally. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But right now, that's what I think. I don't think it looks very good for the bulls in the short term. I think at the very least, we're going to 64K before we touch the all-time high. However, I do not think that we are at the top of our cycle, obviously, because the thicker the money flow, the more chances of divergences. And on the 3-day time frame here, we do not have those divergences. So perhaps June continues to be a bleed for the rest of the month. Bleed. We haven't even bled yet, in my opinion. We're still just in our macro range. But perhaps June decides to bleed a little bit, whatever the case is, and then we decide to roll over. Maybe, maybe not. But that's what I'm looking at right now. And you can't even discuss all-time high until we seriously start breaking above 72K. And like I said, we've had 8 swings at that level, and we're unable to get close to it without a significant retracement. Now, people think when you consolidate or when you take so many swings at that level, it gets weaker. And I mean, yes, you could hypothetically say that, but what can't go up will go down, and we haven't really had that big down move. And so I am looking at 64K for a potential bounce to then get the all-time high from 64K, especially because of the way that market cipher is looking. I mean, we just had this pump out of seemingly nowhere, which I talk about pretty often on this channel and when I'm live. And when you have these pumps that come out of seemingly nowhere, similarly to how I said when you have red vectors, you got to look, or when you have a white dot, you got to look to the left and say that these red vectors can get recovered. Well, same thing. When you got a red dot on market cipher B, you got to look to the left and say this green dot can get recovered. And while structure is not in our favor right now, we should be expecting to potentially give back all of the gains that we had out of seemingly nowhere today. Now, like I said in the beginning, the bald guy or the guy with the hair, I don't know who's Powell and who's not Powell. Jerome, I literally don't know. Jerome is a black person name, so I don't know anyways. But it's very confusing. But this guy's going to talk again. And, you know, we've had this data come out and the markets reacted to it. And we already know that the news is irrelevant because 50% of the time on bullish news, it pumps and 50% it dumps. So it's literally completely irrelevant. But Homeboy is going to start talking, and you can see that we're already starting to get quite a little bit. I'm not going to say a bleed. We're not bleeding. We're still in our short zone, but we're starting to get a little bit of a pullback here. And, you know, you could see that the TA is being respected. Now, I'm going to hit the nail on the head, hit the hammer on the head of the whatever the saying is, okay? I'm going to hit something here. I haven't talked about the market maker model in quite some time on the channel. I used to talk about it all the time. I haven't talked about it in quite some time here. And I want to remind you essentially what the market maker model is, right? Throughout the week, we typically have a rise, retrace, rise, retrace, rise, retrace, M formation, drop level 1, drop level 2, drop level 3. Okay, this is typically what your market maker model for the week is. Now, it doesn't happen every week. It's not perfect. It's not an exact science like nothing in trading is. It's all probabilities. However, we should always be looking to identify where we are in the cycle, okay? And I want you to keep this picture. This is obviously the up version of it. You can see here very clearly, what do we have? We have rise level 1, rise level 2, rise level 3, M formation, drop level 1, drop level 2, drop level 3. Okay? This is why I was saying when we were here, when I made that emergency video and I said, guys, the higher we go without touching this low, the worse it is. And what happened? We obviously ended up rolling over and having this big move to the downside. This, where we are right now currently, is no different than where we were 2 days ago. It is the exact same scenario. Until we come down and touch this level, the higher it goes, the worse it is. And remember, we could SFP and come into this higher, you know, around the 70.2 area, around 70.8 even. We could do that. Hypothetically, we could, right? However, you know, I'm expecting that one last drop level 3, especially because of the way that market cipher is looking. Remember, when you have a red dot, you got to look to the left and say that those green vectors can get recovered. We got that pump out of seemingly nowhere, which I discuss all the time on my live streams. And I am expecting that drop level 3 to come down towards the order block down at 64K. This is what makes sense to me. Remember, we are in a macro range, and when you're at the highs of the range, it's not time to get overly bullish like everybody else on Twitter and YouTube are, okay? And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. You know what? Other creators are saying that they're seeing people that are bearish. All I see is people that are bullish. Maybe it's an algorithm thing. I really couldn't tell you. But what I will tell you, in my experience, if they keep asking you the number one, like, gaslighting question, which is, in my opinion, did you buy the dip? Like, that's gaslighting AF. As long as they're still asking you that, the dip ain't done dipping. And, I mean, we're just ranging. Like, no dips here even have dipped. So that's what I'm looking at right now, man. I think that when the homeboy that is not black decides to talk, we might just give back everything that we gave today, potentially. Obviously, I have long zones prior to my 64K target because if I see the confirmations that I'm going to take, I am absolutely going to long them. I'm not going to sit here and just marry an idea because I said that. But I have been saying for quite some time that I think we're going to go 64K, all-time high, and then low 40s. If you like the content, make sure to hit the like button. If you loved it, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next update. Hopefully, after the drop level 3 happens, everybody that's way too bullish right now gets wrecked and Geo capitalizes on the shorts. I'll catch y'all next time.